Hello, friends. Welcome to IS Grid. This is the second lecture of our geography series. The topics that we are going to cover today are interior of the Earth, wherein we'll look at different sources of information, being direct as well as indirect sources. Then we'll deep dive into waves, earthquake waves, and the propagation of earthquake waves, the emergence of shadow zones, and also the type of earthquakes. So let's dive into the topics. The first is interior of the Earth. Herein, basically, it tells us about three concentric circles. The broadly speaking, this is core. We all know about this mantle and crust, right? And here also, it is mentioned about the heat of the interior plus radioactive decay, leading to convection current, which we had studied about in convection current theory by Arthur Holmes, and it tells us that the earthquake, volcanic activity, and magnetic fields that are influenced by internal processes, because these convection currents ensure that magnetic fields are generated through rotation and flux generation. Now, yes, this is one of those important parts where one liners could have been, it could be UPSC's initiative to ask this, but this has been asked in multiple state exams, so it is pretty important that you kind of have an idea of the kind of discontinuities that are present in which area. So I have made a mnemonic that says. Curious monkeys read geography lessons. So that is curious monkeys read geography lessons. So I think then it becomes fairly easy. Then you just have to remember that crust, upper mantle, lower mantle, outer core, and inner core. These are the five divisions that you have to do, and then you have to fit these uh, discontinuities in between. Now, we were talking about direct sources. How do we know about the interior of the Earth? So the direct sources could be the surface rocks and mining rocks, obviously. And then let's realize this that the we can only dig up till around 12 kilometers, which has been done in Antarctic. It is known as deepest drill at Kola, and there are other gold mines in South Africa which are as much as 3 to 4 kilometers long. But guys, please write in the comments what is the radius of Earth. Then this seems irrelevant. It's negligible in that scenario. And also the best sources to examine magma, it comes out as in the form of lava. It is solidified magma, and once you study about this, you have an idea what's coming from underneath. And then indirect source would be meteors, because we believe that in nebular hypothesis that all the planetesimals and all were accreted together, and what Earth is made up of, meteors would also be made up of the same material. So if we are getting something, a smaller version of Earth on Earth, then we can actually examine them and find out what's inside them. And then gravitation is also one of those aspects, magnetic field and seismic activities. These are the indirect sources that are helpful to us in understanding the interiors of Earth. And now let's moving on to earthquake is if you have to define this, it's in easiest possible way, it's caused due to the release of energy, which generates waves in all the directions. So it could be because of the fault or fracture on the Earth's crust where blocks are moved in opposite direction. For example, if this is a particular block and there are fractures over here and they start moving in different directions, this friction causes release of energy, release of energy, right? Guys, just remember, if you have watched the lecture number one, you would know that we spoke about this in which kind of boundaries, transform boundaries. And one of the prominent examples that we gave was Juan de Fuca fault in San Francisco, US. right? Now this is like I have explained a bit about earthquake, how they are formed. Maybe you can just read it through so that you have a better understanding. Otherwise, it's very important that even if you're writing mains, just imagine you're writing mains in examination. They're not going to ask you about earthquake as a as an independent question. So they'll be asking about the earthquake, what is earthquake, and how is it affecting, or what are the preparedness. So it's very smart that you prepare earthquake based out of 3 or 4 lines maximum. So these are the points that I have given for you to understand. Once you understand this, you should have this ability to narrow this down up to 3 to 4 lines. What I would have done is I would have stuck to the keywords. For example, hypocenter, the tectonic pressure, the earth's crust, and where they move in the opposite direction, the fault, the fracture. These are the terms which I would have inculcated in my 3 4 statements defining what earthquake is. Then I would have gone to the second part of the question. So this is over time accumulated stress. You can also draw fairly small schematic that shows these points over here, like this. This also has a very good impact on the examiner when they're actually correcting the paper. So it can also fetch you good mark. And then the point inside the earth where the energy is released is known as hypocenter. It's the point where the energy is released when once it comes up to the surface. It is called epicenter, and this is hypocenter, from where it actually releases. This is what it is saying. And there are basically two types of earthquakes. The waves that are formed by earthquakes. One is body wave, another is a surface wave. Body waves are generated when the release of energy of the earthquake focuses and travels throughout the earth's interior. This is the keyword here. It travels inside the body of earth, as the name itself suggests. So just remember, body waves on the body of earth, it travels there. And these are the first waves to be recorded by the seismograph, obviously, right? And these can be differentiated into two waves. One is primary, and other one is S wave, which are also known as secondary. Primary waves are longitudinal in nature, first to be recorded in seismograph. Particle motion is parallel. For example, this is how the waves are traveling. Now, these are compression zones and these are rarefaction zones, right? And in here, in S wave, it is perpendicular. That is the difference. And they travel through solid, liquid, and gas, and they propagate like sound waves. Obviously, sound also travels like this only. These are rare fractions here, and these are compressions. Uh, if I could just write here, if compressions and rare fractions. Right now, moving on to S waves, we have seen yes, this we have shown here. These are rare fractions, and these are zone of compressions. And S waves are transverse in nature. Obviously, the direction is perpendicular to the wave direction. If this is the direction, it is perpendicular to the wave direction, and they propagate like ripples on water. Yes, this is how they propagate. Right now, moving on to the other form of wave, we had studied about body, and this is surface. Let me write down body. This is P and this is S. P and S we have done. This is inside the interior of the Earth. Surface is once this body wave reaches to the surface. Right. These are very destructive in nature, and these are also known as long wave or L waves. And when the body waves interact with the surface rocks, it means when they reach to the surface. And these long period waves are due to their long wavelength. It has longer wavelength, right? Now, these low frequency transverse waves develop near the epicenter. Epicenter was the point where this is hypo, this is inside. Like, for example, this is the earth, and this is hypo, and this is epi. It is just a point on the surface where energy is released, and it is, uh, these are developing near the epicenters, and they affect this earth surface, and they die out at shallower depths. Means they do not travel deeper inside. They are only restricted to shallower depths. They die out right here only, in the surface and next to the surface. And waves lose more energy slowly over distance than body waves since they remain confined to the surface. Yes, this is fairly understood that once they travel on the surface, they lose energy at a lesser pace as compared to body waves. Uh, Yes, waves are slowest of all seismic waves and are recorded last on the seismograph. Yes, once the body waves reach the surface, then only they'll be recorded. That's why there are recorded at last. So this is just for your information. Like surface waves comes, you just have to have 2 3 handy statements ready, and mostly these statements can be better by hearted if you can have a comparative analysis. Like for example, body waves, right? Now you have to compare how body wave differs in surface waves. Then you can have this thing, you can call them long waves, and you can call them have high wavelength, and they die out slowly. 3 points, you got 3 points. You just have to read this because this gives you a clearer understanding. But in exam time, whatever you study, only 30 to 40% is something that you will be able to present. So why not make study make shorter version of your own self, 3 4 points, and you revise them multiple times, so that in examination these 3 4 points, even if you try to lose 1 point out of it, 3 points would be ready. 3 points would be in your hand. If you make 10 points, you will be anyways able to remember 3 points only, but this will consume more time for you to prepare, more time to revise. So it's very smart if you make 4 to 5 points, and these should be easy. They would be easy to reproduce. I meant reproduce, and also to by heart. And the best example is to have a comparative. You can start comparing body waves and surface waves. Once you start comparing things, it gives you a better idea of what you have to write, what you have to avoid, right? Now, Rayleigh waves, I have just written this for the just because they could have asked for surface waves in deeper extent in prelims. So this is only based because if they ask in prelims, you shouldn't miss out. And then there comes Rayleigh waves. Rayleigh waves are, as Rayleigh, I have remembered this, it is roller waves. Others were traveling like this, some were traveling like this, some were traveling on the surface like this, and this travels like this, you know, as shown over here. I think this is enough for you to realize what Riley is. You don't have to, get into this deeply. जितना ज़रूरत है उतना ही करिए, बिकॉज इफ़ यू ट्राई टू डू ओवर डू इट, आप इसमें फंस जाते हो, देन यू लूज अ साइट ऑफ व्हाट इज इंपॉर्टेंट, व्हाट इज नॉट. इट्स माई जॉब टू टेल यू व्हाट इज इंपॉर्टेंट. सो आई विल बी, थ्रू आउट द लेसन आई विल बी टेलिंग यू कि क्या पढ़ना चाहिए, क्या नहीं पढ़ना चाहिए. और wherever I have put in extra content in the notes, I will be telling you that why I have put extra content. Like I have told you earlier, वो प्रीलिम्स के लिए कंटेंट है. प्रीलिम्स में अगर एस वेव के बारे में डीपली पूछ लिया या लॉन्ग वेव के बारे में पूछ लिया, तो यू नीड टू हैव दिस आइडिया कि लॉन्ग वेव होता क्या है. दैट इज वाई. Now, earthquake, wave propagation is also an important part because ये एनसीईआरटी में अच्छे से दिया हुआ है. एंड व्हाट आई हैव डन इज मेड श्योर कि एनसीईआरटी को और सिंपलीफाइड वर्जन में आपको प्रेजेंट करूं, सो दैट इट्स इजियर फॉर यू टू रिमेंबर. आप एक दो बार समझ जाओ क्या है, तो फिर आपको याद हो जाता है. दिस इज हाउ ह्यूमन ब्रेन वर्क्स. So we have studied that S waves do not travel through liquid, right? I have मुझे याद करना, तो what I would remember, S is S wave, S for solid only. ठीक है. अब P जो है solid plus liquid, right? मैंने ऐसे याद कर लिया. And then I get into the the theory of this. See, it says, it draws a map of the, how where the regions where S waves are found, and the regions where P waves are found. Obviously, P wave can travel through liquid also. So we know we have, the inner core is pretty solid, right? uh, but the outer core and mantle, there are, these are, they have liquid, this thing. outer core. So in liquid outer core, it's very hard for S wave to be found. That is why it is called the shadow zone of S wave. That's all you have to remember, nothing else. Then now you have to remember the the degrees where they have been found. For example, S wave has shadow zone between 103 and 142. That is away from the epicenter. Epicenter you could assume over here, right? And this happens because of what? Refraction. You know, पी वेव तो सब में ट्रैवल कर लेता है, लेकिन ट्रैवल करता है तो यू हैव रेड अबाउट दिस थिंग इन आई गेस इन साइंस एंड टेक. ये हो गया आपका रेयरर मीडियम और ये हो गया डेंसर मीडियम. अब यहाँ पे नॉर्मल जो है रेयरर से डेंसर में जाएगा, इट गोज क्लोजर टू द नॉर्मल. सो इट इज गेटिंग क्लोजर टू द नॉर्मल. तो ये जो एरिया जो शैडो जोन हो गया दैट इज 105 टू 145, or at some places it's 103 to 142. So this is a fairly 105 से 145 तक you can remember. And ये जो जोन है दिस इज पी जोन. इसमें बस आपको ये शेडो मिलता है 105 टू 145. लेकिन एस जोन में ऐसा नहीं है. एस जोन कैन नॉट ट्रैवल थ्रू लिक्विड, इट कैन ओनली ट्रैवल थ्रू सॉलिड. तो ये जो है ना आपको एपिसेंटर से 105 तक 0 टू 105 तक मिलेगा. 105 से ये शैडो जोन हो जाता है. दिस इज ऑल यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड. Okay, and now let's talk about the type of earthquake. Types of earthquake could be tectonic earthquake due to rock sliding of rock along the fault line. जो हमने ऊपर पढ़ा था, दिस इज द फॉल्ट लाइन और यहाँ पे फ्रिक्शन होता है, हीट एनर्जी रिलीज होती है, इससे earthquakes, ट्रेमर्स और ये जनरेट होते हैं. वी हैव स्टडीड दिस. ऑब्वियसली वोल्केनिक earthquakes होता है. आप अभी भी ऐसा देख लो कि आइसलैंड में अभी, यू गाइस प्लीज राइट डाउन इन द कमेंट्स कि बहुत बड़ा मेजर 2010 से लेकर 20 तक एक बहुत मेजर आइसलैंड में अर्थक्वेक आया था, वोल्केनिक एरप्शन हुआ था, जहाँ पे फ्लाइट्स पूरी नॉर्थ यूरोप की बंद हो गई थी. प्लीज गाइस राइट दैट इन द कमेंट वो कौन सा था, और उससे बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग उसके वेव्स, अर्थक्वेक वेव्स मिले थे. और अभी रिसेंटली वी हैव सीन इंडोनेशिया में एक आइलैंड है, वहाँ पे अभी माउंटेन सॉरी अर्थ वोल्केनिक एरप्शन हुआ है, उससे भी ट्रेमर्स जनरेट हुए थे. प्लीज टेल अबाउट दिस. और एक एवरीवन नोज अबाउट माउंट एटना. कीप हम लोग वोल्केनिक के बारे में पढ़ाएंगे लेटर ऑन, बट जस्ट रियलाइज कि आप भी थोड़ा सा रिसर्च करो तो इट एक्चुअली मेक्स यू मोर इन्वॉल्व. एंड देन देयर इज कोलैप्स अर्थक्वेक. इट कुड बी ड्यू टू माइनिंग एक्टिविटी. ये मोस्टली प्रेवलेंट होता है रैट होल माइनिंग में. और हम लोग एथिक्स में केस स्टडी पढ़ते हैं, मेघालय में इंसिडेंट जो हुआ था, माइनिंग इंसिडेंट. इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट दैट यू स्टार्ट लिंकिंग. मतलब पढ़ाई तो सब सेम है, एक ही चीज पढ़ो, लेकिन उस चीज को अलग अलग जगह यूज करना सीख जाओगे. सो यू विल हैव दिस बेटर कनेक्टिविटी. तो चीजें आसान हो जाएगी अपने आप, राइट. देन एक्सप्लोजन अर्थक्वेक. यस, पोखरा में अभी अभी जो एयरबेस जो था नूर सुल्तान नाम था या समथिंग लाइक दिस, अब जो पाकिस्तान में देयर इट वाज बिलीव्ड दैट उसके अंडरग्राउंड में न्यूक्लियर आर्सेनल है उसका. तो अर्थक्वेक्स आने लग गए थे वहाँ पे बिकॉज ऑफ व्हेन ब्रह्मोस मिसाइल स्ट्रक दैट एयरबेस. और फिर रिजर्वॉयर इंड्यूस्ड अर्थक्वेक. गाइस, एक बहुत फेमस रिजर्वॉयर है महाराष्ट्र में, जहाँ पे एक बहुत फेमस फॉल्ट लाइन है, राइट. यू प्लीज इतना ही आप अगर डालोगे ना गूगल पे भी तो आपको आंसर मिल जाएगा. अभी मैं बता दूंगा तो आप लोग एफर्ट नहीं डालोगे और आप देखोगे भी नहीं. तो इसका बहुत अच्छा एग्जाम्पल है. और तिहरी डैम का भी हमें पता है, इसका एग्जाम्पल है एक उत्तराखंड में. तो ये जो रिजर्वॉयर है ये थोड़ा मतलब अर्थक्वेक प्रोन रीजन में है. जो मैंने महाराष्ट्र वाला दिया है वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. अब देखना भीमा फॉल्ट पे है. चलो और बता देता हूँ मैं. भीमा फॉल्ट अब तो आप लोग सर्च कर लेना, राइट. नाउ गेटिंग इनटू द पीवाईक्यूज और प्रैक्टिस क्वेश्चन. मैंने इसमें देखिए इतना पीवाईक्यूज मुझे मतलब एज अ यूपीएससी और स्टेट वाला मैंने देखा था, आई डोंट फाइंड मतलब ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट. तो मैंने सोचा कि एनसीईआरटी वाला भी इंक्लूड कर देता हूँ अलॉन्ग विद फ्यू पीवाईक्यूज जो मुझे लग रहा था कि इट कुड बी रेलिवेंट. सो गाइज टेक योर टाइम, सॉल्व दिस योरसेल्फ. इसमें मुझे लग नहीं रहा है कि यू माइट मतलब नीड माई हेल्प. फॉर एग्जाम्पल ये वाला क्वेश्चन है, टेकन ट्रैप फॉर्मेशन. आई कैन टेल यू डेकन ट्रैप कैसे फॉर्म होता है कि डेकन ट्रैप क्या होता है, यहाँ पे फिशर हुआ, वोल्केनो बाहर निकला, वोल्केनो कह रहा हूँ सॉरी, मैग्मा बाहर निकला तो यहाँ लावा बन गया, फिर बहुत टाइम के बाद यहाँ पे हैबिटेशंस हो गए, यहाँ पे पेड़ पौधे उगने लगे, लोग रहने लगे, वापस फिशर हुआ, वापस यहाँ पे ट्रीज और पेड़ पौधे ये सब होने लगे, वापस फिशर हुआ, ये ऐसे ऐसे फिशर होता जा रहा है ना। तो ये सब ना ट्रैप हो गए हैं इन मल्टीपल लेयर्स, दैट इज वाई दीज आर कॉल्ड ट्रैप्स, एंड दीज आर डेकन ट्रैप्स, राइट। सो डेकन ट्रैप्स में किस टाइप का होगा, अब जैसे मैंने बताया शील्ड है, शील्ड ही होगा ना, ये बहुत स्लोली फ्लो करता है, फिशर में फ्लो कर रहा है तो शील्ड होगा। हमें पूरा डेकन ट्रैप में हम लोग को मिलता है ब्लैक सॉइल, ऑल्सो नोन एज रेगर सॉइल, these are beneficial for cotton. Which one of the following describe lithosphere, या lithosphere को तो मैंने बताया था कल, you guys can easily do this. I want you guys to solve this क्योंकि if I start solving right now, you guys won't have this thing, इनिशिएटिव नहीं मिलेगा आपको सॉल्व करने का, खुद दिमाग लगाओ, खुद बाद में मैंने आंसर्स लिख ही रखे हैं, सो प्लीज ट्राई सॉल्विंग दिस। अगर इसमें भी कोई डाउट है तो प्लीज join us on the telegram channel, and you can ask your doubt, or you can comment down below as well, you know. Thank you guys for your valuable time. See you in the next lecture. Have a great day. Bye.